connection is everything, even though we may not necessarily culturally always be aligned.
John Boyega captivated us all earlier in 2020. It was his speech that he gave in the aftermath of George Floyd's killing that brought everyone to a full stop. And even though he had already filmed his current role in an anthology film series from Oscar winner Steve McQueen that looks at the lives of London's West Indian community in the 1970s and 80s and their force of will against systematic racism and discrimination, this all feels like an exclamation point on that unplanned, powerful speech.
Black lives have always mattered. We have always been important. We have always meant something. We have always succeeded, regardless. And now is the time. I ain't waiting.
It was so spontaneous, and just simply happened, and it kind of shows you the power of your position, shows you the power of your words. You know, I really, really didn't feel like any of you was going to hear about any speech I did at Hyde Park, and makes me feel way more fulfilled than just, being an actor and just doing my thing.
What was the moment you think that made you get out there in the first place?
I think it was the sheer audacity that there were people in the States that had an argument against the simple statement that Black Lives Matter. The several different conflicting debates that I saw on Twitter and, on Instagram and then in the blogs, to be fair, it just pissed me off. I was like, why are we even debating it?
It is almost scary how on par Stephen McQueen's entire, film anthology is, because of course, we really spent much of 2020 talking about systematic racism and discrimination.
We don't know what George Floyd could have achieved. We don't know what Sandra Bland could have achieved. But today, we're going to make sure that won't be an alien thought to our young ones.
But walk me back to what made you want to be a part of this in the first place.
I think I was at the point where I had just come off of the Star Wars franchise and I wanted to do something at home, but be part of a really important story. For me, it's just in the opposite direction of what I've done and providing the audience with another character to indulge in and another story to be entertained by and also to learn. I think that we haven't seen this type of quality added to filmmaking when it comes to the Caribbean community out here in the UK and their history. And this is the first of its kind, especially the way it's formatted and the way Steve's done this.
Well, what would you love for people to take away from the entire anthology after they consume it here?
I think the humanity of it all. Sometimes in life we like to look at things from the outside in because we feel like we could never experience that. And I think this is a great chance that drama has to basically make us empathize. You see the quiet moments in which Leroy Logan looks at himself in the mirror and doesn't know who he is, doesn't know whether he's a Judas or doesn't know whether he's fighting for the Black community.
Being part of Small Acts and really the anthology as a whole, how does that change maybe decisions that you will make moving forward?
It does definitely influence me to definitely say to my team that, we need to make sure that Steve McQueen gets me in the next one.
Right.
I love to work with him again because it was phenomenal to work with him. But in that case, that's how it influences the next gig.
Is it scary for you to really step out there and be an activist?
I don't like seeing Black bodies all around the world discriminated against. It makes me feel very, very ill. Because it could be me, it could be anybody that I love, and it creates a huge sorrow within me, and then the discomfort of being in my privilege, even though it's a privilege that I worked hard for and I earned, but being in this privilege and then seeing that can't even possibly, I don't even have enough to expand to everyone I possibly want to change and want to give an opportunity to. Really does hurt. Connection is everything, even though we may not necessarily culturally always be aligned. I think that what does connect us is obviously our history. We are from the same place, but at the same time, the obstacles that we're fighting against And I think that a project like this, showing the perspective of what happens in this community over here in London and the UK, is a reflection of the evil and how far it's spread. And that's something we can relate to in terms of the obstacles that we've all faced, even, growing up. And that's something that I want more and more of is the connect.
What were you surprised about when you first got to the States, especially as we think about, how the role that systematic racism has played here and how it really still finds its way into our daily lives?
For me personally, my best friend is from LA, Inglewood. When I first came to LA, I lost my accommodation in West Hollywood and I needed someone to stay. So I was staying in Inglewood for a few months on her sofa. I met her family, her friends, and for a while, it was definitely at the time shocking for them to see someone like me from the UK and then hear about our experiences. Until then, I surprised her, got her a flight over to London and said, you can come down and you can experience the UK, experience London. Took her to Brixton, to a block party, several different historical places, had her meet people. And that exchange was beautiful because she done the same for me. Several different things that I didn't know, she was able to expose to me in terms of knowledge and our experiences. So we can share, grow, and learn where our us being allies can really benefit us. Yeah, I think in moments it was just blatant to see that there was definitely people much more at racism being innate, just in the face certain times, and it definitely made me empathize with my African-American brothers and sisters in a very grounded way to see that, they're not talking shit about their experiences. These experiences are very, very real. And America is intense and especially unknown. When my mouth was closed, I was African-American to everybody else, And that shit was interesting, man.
What's next for you?
So about to go off to the ATL with Jamie Foxx and Jules Taylor directed and Declan Tyrone. So I can't wait for that. And then I'll be shooting something called Rebel Ridge after that. So I'm just excited to get back to work.
Get back to work. I like that. John Boyega, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I do appreciate it.